With this True Blue salute, I am Carla Nichols reporting. Joining me is the president of the Ansley FFA chapter, Addilyne Rohde. How are you doing today, Addilyne?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So, in leading up to this discussion, you mentioned earlier that you've already qualified for state FFA. With state FFA coming up, share a little bit more about what you've already qualified in.
So I qualified in an LDE, which is a leadership development event. And it was a natural resource speaking. It was about the 45Z tax credit, which is part of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. It is used to incentivize farmers, ranchers, and landowners to store carbon from the atmosphere into their soil just to help the environment. It is pretty much I'm just explaining what it is, if you should be part of it and whatnot. So there's pros and cons of it, and I'm pretty much just explaining, hey, these are the pros, these are the cons. You should pick a side and decide whether or not you want to be part of it, because there is money that you can earn from it, but it's more about, because there's a lot of soil testing that you have to do. You have to do testing before, during, and after the carbon has been stored in your soil. So it's is the money you're spending on it going to be equal enough to the money that you're going to be gaining to actually get money from it? Because you get paid on a pre-ton basis for the carbon you are storing into the soil.
And in talking about this carbon topic, it's been very popular over the years, but it is a very complex issue or topic to bring up. So what made you decide to want to do a speech covering this?
So my ag teacher, she has direct resources from a person who has to do with the 45Z tax credit. And so I would have a lot of knowledge about it from him. And the fact that when I saw, she explained it to me and she's like, this is what it is. This is what he's told me about it. And I was like, oh, this is a really cool topic. And it had been something that nobody else had done before. And I found it so interesting because it's picking a side, and there's so many different controversies between, do we need to worry about the carbon in the atmosphere or not?
And in talking a little bit more about the preparation going into the LDE competition, and then now looking ahead to state FFA that's coming up, what does the prep work look like in getting this speech ready for state?
So I first had to pick my topic, which once I discovered the 45Z tax credit, I was like, yes, this is 100% what I'm going to do. So then it was all about finding a reliable source other than just my person, because trying to find multiple resources was going to be hard because it was not a well-known thing, because it is a thing that Nebraska does. It's just a Nebraska thing, the 45Z tax credit is. And so then I had to make sure that the pages I was using would be reliable with the person, based on what he had said, if the page was reliable or not. And then after that, it was picking a format and picking out what I was going to do with it. And that was really hard because it's oh, what information do I need? What information do I not need? And I had to make sure, since this was them deciding, the judges deciding, I had to make sure I wasn't picking a side. So I had to make sure that I had equal amount of information that was good and equal amount of information that was bad. So trying to pick that was hard. And then the memorization, obviously, because it is a long speech.
And in looking at the rest of contests before state, are there any other competitions that you'll be competing in and trying to get to the state level with another contest?
Yes, I am competing in 2 CDE events. One is vet science and the other is land management, ag management.
Have you been to state FFA before?
Yes, I've been to it 2 years now.
In looking towards these different contests, leading up, each competition has a day where you do the CDEs or the LDEs. At state, if you make it with the CDEs and LDEs, it's kind of a mix, jam-packed, all the contests together. How do you keep every contest or all the different information straight and memorizing and getting ready for state with multiple contests?
So we have CDEs coming up, and if I make it to state in either of my CDE events, I will concentrate on making sure I have my LDE memorized, and then my CDEs, I'll make sure, because theirs isn't memorization, it's more learning the knowledge and just keeping it in there. So I think after I have that knowledge done, and I've competed in vet science this will be my 3rd year competing in vet science. So I have a lot of that information already known, and then I will be competing in another one, which is completely new to me. but based on what I've done for that already, it seems like it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So then when I get to state, I will compete in my 3 events, and to make sure that I'm keeping those aligned, I'm just going to make sure that I keep them like separated by day and everything, because based on how we're looking, they're not going to like interfere with the days and everything. So I'm going to make sure that I get everything organized, and then the day before I'll have so much time to sit there and study it and make sure I have everything known.
And in looking overall at the FFA program, we talked a little bit about the contest. There's several different opportunities available within FFA. If you're a junior this year, share a little bit more about the impact FFA has had on you currently and looking towards the future.
So my family owns a ranch, so FFA has always been part of my family. My older brother did it. I've had family members before me do it. And when I found out about it, I just fell in love with it because I've loved agriculture ever since I was little. I want to be a vet when I'm older. I just love the whole agricultural setting. And to help younger kids fall in love with it how I am is just incredible, because I get to go and I get to talk to little kids about it. I get to talk to other people. I've encouraged other high schoolers to do it even. It's just so fun to like see them join it and then to see them succeed and know that I had something to do with that. It just makes me like realize that this is actually worth something.
Well, thank you for taking the time to join me today. And best of luck with your upcoming CDEs and even state convention that will be coming up shortly. Again, that was Addilyne Rohde with the Ansley FFA chapter. This has been a True Blue Salute. I'm Carla Nichols for the Rural Radio Network.